Polyworld. Does this word have any meaning to you? Poly means many, and world means the Earth or globe considered as a planet. But this is a Minecraft video, so how about we stick to Minecraft worlds? The term Polyworld was first coined by Nolatrum in November of 2016 with his video titled How I Discovered a New Type of Minecraft Structure and his accompanying Minecraft forum post. He laid most of the groundwork for how we understand polyworlds today. So what exactly is a Minecraft polyworld? The only requirement for a world to be labeled as a polyworld is if it has multiple terrain generators. The best example of this in recent times would be the change in terrain from 1.6 to 1.7. The chunk borders provided an obvious point of where old terrain ended and new terrain began. I used this example because as of Minecraft 1.18, the chunk blending feature was implemented. It tries to conform new chunks to the look of previous ones, which cleans up the look of the world, but also makes terrain borders harder to spot. Going back to our 1.7 example, we now have a polyworld of the first degree. That means we have one additional terrain generator type applied to the world. But how dense of a polyworld do you think we can make? Well, this is when things get technical. Comparing 1.6 to 1.7 is an easy example, and so is comparing beta 1.7 to beta 1.8. But how about comparing beta 1.2 to beta 1.3? The notable changes are the addition of sandstone and a different bedrock floor pattern. Does that constitute a different terrain generator? I lean towards yes. My reasoning, particularly for the sandstone, is that the core terrain generator has been changed. But then what is not considered core terrain? Chunk population. Chunk population refers to things like trees, flowers, ores, springs, and so on. Based on this, I do not consider alpha 1.2.5 to alpha 1.2.6 to be a polyworld, as the only changes are with lake and spring generation, which are a part of chunk populating. However, you are fully welcome to have your own opinion on this. As I said, things get technical. Even though the overworld has had the most amount of terrain generators, the nether and end can be made as polyworlds as well. The biggest example for the nether is going from 1.15 to 1.16, where the entire dimension was overhauled. An example for the end using regular means, looking at you 21W13A, is to load chunks at least 1,000 blocks away from the central island in 1.8 or earlier. This will cause large sections of air to generate, which normally would be the outer islands if loaded in 1.9 and later. How far back in versions can you go to create polyworlds? Using official means, the answer is infdev, particularly the version from March 27th, 2010. But we don't always do official here. Using the tools provided in my Ultimate Old World Conversion Guide, it's possible to get worlds from InDev Classic and even the earliest pre-classic versions into infdev and later. In fact, you can also combine finite worlds within 14A and later, if done correctly. Using the bowl as an example from my Ultimate Minecraft Polyworld series, you can see 15 distinct terrain generators, ranging from pre-classic all the way until late InDev. That means I already had a polyworld of the 14th degree before even reaching infdev. Here's where things get complicated again. Would you say going from the 2D noise generator of infdev 325 to the 3D noise generator of infdev 327 create a polyworld? If you answered yes, then there's the possibility you did not know that infdev 325 never officially supported world saving and loading, making it impossible to get a world into 327, which does have saving. However, in modern times, we have mods available for infdev that add saving and loading for terrain, making it possible to get 325 terrain into 327 and later. This also applies to various other InDev and infdev versions that originally did not support saving. Does that mean using such mods nullifies the polyworld? I disagree with that. These days, we have the original versions, so using a saving mod makes it a vanilla plus polyworld. I do not say the same about recreated versions though. I believe that using recreated versions to acquire certain terrain types, especially development builds, takes it out of the vanilla category and labels it as a recreated polyworld. But like I said earlier, feel free to have your own opinion. How about terrain generator quirks like monoliths? For those who don't know, monoliths were a terrain bug that existed between infdev 6.11 and alpha 1.1.2_01. Personally, when I am counting polyworld degrees, I include monoliths because I don't view them as part of the normal Minecraft terrain generator. I believe the Farlands also sit alongside monoliths as separate terrain because it requires only a very simple code change in any version of InfDev or later to either fix or bring back the Farlands. In addition, I consider each Farlands version as separate terrain generators. Comparing InfDev 3.27 Farlands to Beta 1.7 Farlands, there are noticeable changes in how they appear. And all this time I've been talking about Java Edition Polyworlds. But it is not the only platform that can have Polyworlds natively. Take the Xbox 360 edition for an example. It was originally based on Java Edition Beta 1.6.6, but was updated all the way until 1.13. As such, it featured most of the Java terrain generators between those versions. Pocket Edition is another example. Its original terrain generator was a stark contrast to the terrain that surrounded it, when taking a limited-sized world of 0.8 or earlier into an infinite world of 0.9 and later. But does that mean Polyworlds are confined to one platform? I think not. I believe that taking the terrain of one world and bringing it into another creates a multi-platform Polyworld. For example, on my Minecraft Legacy world, I imported my entire Minecraft Across the 360 world, bringing both Java and Xbox 360 terrain together. And so, to answer my previous question of how dense can a Minecraft Polyworld be, the only correct answer is that it's up to you. If you are sticking to InfDev 3.27 through the latest release of 1.21.4 and only using normal overworld terrain, you're looking at a Polyworld around the 32nd degree. But if you wanted to include terrain like finite worlds, multiple platforms, monoliths, and the like, you could be looking at a Polyworld with twice as many different generators. It only makes sense that there is no absolute answer, because like I said, things get technical. The choice is up to you. Thank you all for watching. Bye!